Hi, today's video is about the power of authentic and inspiring personal branding, and there's going to be an invitation in this as well. Now, as you may know, a lot of my kind of messages and my passion is around kind of spirituality and showing up in the world as who we truly are. So I sometimes still myself feel a bit uncomfortable talking about personal branding because I've had a mixed relationship with it myself. I think it's always been in my awareness that it's a really important thing to do, or it has power to it. But I really started asking myself some big questions around this about 8 years ago. And I think it was because I was hitting 50. I was coming up to 50 about 8 years ago, and I was beginning to ask myself some of those bigger questions again, which was, well, I know I do some things well, and I know I've accumulated some experience, and I know, kind of what I'm about. I know I stand for something, but I think what I was asking at that age a few years ago was, how do I pull all the parts of me together into a powerful, unified whole? And it took me quite a few years to really answer that question. And I don't think what I realized was I was really asking, what do I stand for as a brand? So that was the kind of language I began to use for myself. It's like, if I were a brand, what am I really about? What do I stand for? What impact do I want to have? What do I want to inspire in people and in the world? So I really, kind of got the hang of this, but I also realized I had some big resistance. And for me, the big resistance was around the idea that in my mind, branding was largely commercial. People invent things for commercial purposes and call them brands, and they do it very successfully. All our lives are blessed by some really good brands being in them. So I love kind of commercially created brands, but I also thought, well, can brands be also an expression of what we're on earth to do? Can they be an expression of our spirituality? Can they be the expression of the best of who we are and our brilliance and our love and our gifts? And I realized they could. So what I realized was I wanted to give another purpose to the idea of branding, if you like. So for me, the purpose of branding is to be able to know yourself really well, know your strengths, know your brilliance, know what you're on earth to do, what you were born to do, and be able to express that to the people that you can most powerfully serve. So for me, personal branding isn't around a commercial invention, it's around full creative, spiritual, intellectual, emotional expression in the world and contribution. And then the success and the commercial success comes as a result of having done that. So each month in my kind of world, in my community, I take a theme, and this month the theme is personal branding. I'm hosting a talk next week in London with Radio 2 presenter Janie Lee Grace, who you may know. She's been a mate of mine for a while. So I'm hosting a book launch because she's written a book called You Are Your Brand. So if you wanted to join the community this month, this is going to be the theme. How do we brand ourselves in the most authentic, inspiring and real way possible, so that we really show up with who we are in the world and make the impact that we can make and have the fun that we can have and create the success that we're capable of. So if you'd like to come on that adventure with me, please, you're welcome to join the community. It's open again for a few more days, so I'd love to have you on board. And come on the journey. Let's learn and grow together. I can share what I've learned over the last 8 years and how I've got to create the brand that I've created, and I'll be sharing my thinking behind how I've got to create the brand that I do, because there's some really clear thinking that I developed that has gone into the thinking behind my brand, and I'll happily share all of that with you during the month if you're part of the community. So thanks for watching this. I hope you've enjoyed it, and welcome on board if you're going to join the community.